The greatest thing about Sir Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is not just the stunning visuals shot fully in IMAX cameras. It is something that we literally can't see throughout the movie. Yet without it, the experience would not have been half of what we got. Nolan uses it, time and again in all his movies, and offers the audience a completely immersive experience into the world that he brings to the theaters. Yes, you guessed it right. The sound effects that we only hear, and I think it is not being discussed enough when it comes to the Odyssey. We associate sounds with emotions, a simple psychological science. Professionals use this to offer audience an experience that a visual cannot always convey completely. And Nolan and his crew does this the best. If you don't trust me, just go watch a horror movie after this video. But put it on mute or at very low volume. You will immediately know the difference. Anyways, throughout the Odyssey, both the music and the sound effects play an enormous role. And even when it comes to sounds, Nolan refuses dependence on the digital. The first thing that comes to mind when I talk about the sounds is the howl of the Cyclops that Odysseus and his men encounter in a cave in the movie. Ever since I heard it in the theaters, I was dying to know how they did it. Because it did not sound like those usual Jurassic Park roars or King Kong. Turns out, actor Bill Irwin, the one who played the Cyclops, screamed live on the set inside the cave. Amplifiers and speakers played the live vocalizations at the 60-foot height of the puppet Cyclops. The natural cave acoustics and use of large metallic tubes channeling the sounds did the magic. It felt something otherworldly and alien. Apart from the Cyclops, there was hardly any other monsters in the film that roared. But there was still a roar that made us feel trapped inside the environment. The most frightening sound in a story about the sea was probably not a monster at all. It was simply the vast, unforgiving ocean. When the last storm hit Odysseus's ship, the audience was probably as deafened and fearful as Odysseus himself, hanging onto a breaking mast. Can sound alone make us feel the world of the Odyssey? Ludwig Göransson apparently did it. He followed the strict rule of Nolan: no traditional orchestra with modern instrument. They used Bronze Age organ pipes called aulos and the lyre, a replacement of harps. And that's how Nolan and his team presented to us the ancient world of Hellenic Greece through the background music. From my personal experience, I will rank the top 3 musical scores used in the Odyssey. At number 3, we have Sirens. It was played throughout the movie on different occasions, but the main impact of it was during the scene where Odysseus's ship sails past the rock of the singing sirens. Many fans were, I think, disappointed in hearing this music instead of the Song of Sirens. But in the original Odyssey, the song was never vividly described, so that was being true to the text, I would say. And it was a perfect background for Odysseus's emotional monologue when he speaks of what he heard from the sirens. At number 2 is The Trial of the Bow. I am sure this has become a fan favorite by now. In the original Odyssey, it was described that when Odysseus strings his bow and plucks at it, it creates a musical sound, like the lyre. And true to the text, that is exactly how the scene unfolds. That reverberating sound was enough to give us goosebumps, sitting in the theaters, especially in anticipation of the climax that followed. I would say no more, to keep this video spoiler free. And finally, at number 1 according to me, is Troy. Before seeing this scene in the movie, I saw it as an exclusive 6-minute screening in the IMAX theaters, several months before the release of the film. Since Odyssey is a post-Trojan War story, there was not much room for creating war hysteria on the screen. But yet within the small amount of time, the fall of Troy was shown. Nolan nailed it. and at par with him was Göransson's background music. Unlike traditional idea of the easy success with the Trojan horse strategy, Nolan presents us with a more anxiety-filled version of the same. In this scene, it feels like a slow and painful race against time, with the fear that any moment the scales of balance can tip towards the Trojans. And the background music, titled Troy, builds up this tension so perfectly that you might be on the edge of your seat by the time it ends. Okay, so these were my personal opinions and rankings. Do you feel that it should be different? Or there are better music scores in The Odyssey? Go ahead and prove me wrong then. If you enjoy discovering the stories, sounds, and ideas behind great films, leave a like, share this with someone who'd love it, and subscribe to World and Stories. See you again soon with some other video.